Today, I have for you something really, really cool. And this is it. This is Portugal Open Project, a huge free roam that Authentic Simulations wants to develop. And I have a really cool story with this. So back last year when I went to Rensport, I met Authentic Simulator and the modders. And we were talking about Rensport modding and Assetto Corsa modding and all of that because I want to bring modding into Rensport. A few days later, I contacted one of the developers that I met there, and I said it to him half as a joke, but half still serious. What if you built or you developed my favorite driving roads in the world, which is essentially this stretch we're driving on. Starts a little bit more towards the north, which is the Nacional 247 that comes all the way, at least a stretch that I like to, all the way from Colares, all the way into Cascais, going through Praia do Guincho. And he said, that's not a bad idea. And what he did was starting to develop all of this. Look at the distance. Look at the scale. So the area we're seeing here is the area west of Lisbon, about 15-20 minutes driving from Lisbon, called Cascais. And they want to develop an area also towards the north, which is there we're on Serra de Sintra, going all the way to Cabo da Roca, and also the highway system. We're not going to see the highway system today because it's still not looking very good. All of it requires a lot of work still, but we do have nicely the foundations. Look at the distance, man. Look at the bay. It's beautiful. So because it's my driving road, and gonna be incredibly biased about this because when I lived in Lisbon, lived it for a few years, like 4 or 5 years, this was essentially my favorite road to drive on. It was incredibly relaxing, and every time that I go there, I still do it. Pick up my trusty old Corolla 1.3 G6 that I still have there. I drive this road going all the way to Sintra. Eat some travesseiros, as you do, as you should. Eat some travesseiros de Sintra. Go all the way to Colares, go through this road, and at Malveira da Serra, which is the small town we're hitting at the moment, we're gonna go towards the right into the strada that goes to Praia do Guincho, which is still the 247. If you want to go to a highway, starting in this area, the fastest way is going towards the front, but instead we're gonna turn towards the right side because the sightseeing is much better. As you can see, the development is very good, but it still has a lot to do. Unfortunately, I don't have the stock from the Mozza to do the indicator left and right. And this road is awesome because it has a lot of flowiness. It has a lot of twists and turns and hairpins and quite technical when you go to the north. In this part, it starts to become more flowy, so you have a lot of things, and it's also picturesque, beautiful to see, and then it changes scenery all the time from hills, from forest into that village we see there, into this one it'll have some golf courses and luxury hotels on the right. Then it goes to a beach that looks like incredibly desolate and Jurassic, and then it goes into the city or village of Cascais. If it's a village or a city, I still don't know. And it's beautiful. It changes a lot, and they do that. In this road, the Portugal Open project, or this free roam, currently has 147 kilometers of track development. But if they do it on Kickstarter and go to the stretch goals, they want to develop up to 1,000 kilometers of roads. Of course, it's going to need a lot of money. It's going to need a lot of time doing that. And if you want to support them, that will be great for them to develop that. As it is, it needs a lot of development still to get some of the highlights of the areas because it still has a lot of placeholders. It has a lot of custom buildings, as you can see on the right. It has a lot of custom buildings, but in some of the most important areas, there's still a lot of placeholders, which I would like to see developed. But anyways, we're hitting another area, which is the Praia do Guincho after this. So you have like this mountain road, which develops into this hill or dune, because dunes are essentially hills made of sand. And Praia do Guincho is exactly this. And if the sun at this time of year is like this, it's what we generally see. The color correction might change a little bit, but it can be quite bright and blinding as it goes on front of you. And then we have on the right side Praia do Guincho. Not very good to do beach, and it's great for kite surfing and surfing in general, but not very good for doing some beach days because it's quite windy and you have sand all over your face all the time. And now this area was developed like 10-15 years ago. They brought a lot of pedestrian areas, so we could run all the way from Cascais into here. And you know, I would drive here, stop at the right side. It's not really, most of the places are really not sand, they're actually rocks. It looks like Jurassic rock because it's destroyed or it's been battered by the sea, and it becomes quite desolate. On the left side there's gonna be some sort of golf courses, but here they have developed also some sort of trial thing, as in if it was Forza Horizon, but it's not still well developed, so I'm not gonna go there. And as we're gonna go on this road goes into the Bay of Cascais, which in my opinion still requires a lot of work, but it has like the basis for it, because it's one of the highlights. It's one of the things you want to see when you go to Central Cascais. You know, the area is quite big for a free roam. There are bigger free roams out there, but if you want to build something that looks nice and not always desolate, hopefully it has a lot of details. There's a lighthouse at the right. On the left side you can go to the trials thing. The roads, especially this road, is too wide. They were kind of figuring out if they should have wider roads or not. Personally, I am of the opinions that the roads should be 1-to-1 or close to 1-to-1, but they also want to add, traffic planner, and they decided that they're gonna tighten the roads a little bit, especially the ones that are more towards the hills or more towards at the back, where we started. Because in my opinion, you really need to have, you know, the twisty natures and the tight nature of those roads. Otherwise it loses a little bit of fun. If it makes it too wide, it kind of loses what I like the roads about, because they're twitchy, they're very tight, they have flow, they have bends and all of that in the higher pins. It's really nice to drive. You just need to see if they can add some sort of traffic that are cyclists, because this area is always full of cyclists. And as we go into Cascais, this area is now being developed, you know, with luxury apartments and all of that. Very soon we're going to go to an area with luxury hotels. And right here, in terms of landmarks, or in terms of buildings, the buildings are custom made. They look okay, they look in place, but as we move further towards in Cascais, especially the area I was talking about, the Bay of Cascais where the fort is, it feels like everything is placeholder and it doesn't look correct. And you'll see a few of those things very soon. You're definitely gonna see that. You shouldn't do this in Portugal ever. But as it goes, the development is going on, and even the developer sent me a few pictures of buildings that they were trying to replicate. So, you know, you can see that they're working quite a lot on a building to building basis. So over here somewhere there should be a fuel station. On the right somewhere as well, a fort, but they haven't picked up the fort. It's a nice place to eat. These white buildings at the right will be more or less placeholders. As at the moment, we have a roundabout over here, and then we're gonna crash into this Land Rover. This would be me, of course. Shouldn't be doing that. And I want to go to the right. Can you go to the right or not? What are you doing? Get out of the way. Okay, that's a Sunday driver. Now we're gonna go to the right. Going to an area called Boca do Inferno. Essentially, all of this area is, you know, being battered for millions and millions of years, being battered by the sea, and there's a hole in one of the big rocks, and the sea comes in, and then you see a lot of seawater and spray going over it. It's essentially after this little thing, I believe. There's a restaurant over there as well. As you can see, some of the buildings are really well detailed, and the restaurant should be around here. It's way too big. But as we go in to Cascais, the scenery becomes more about luxury hotels. or luxury buildings, and then it becomes in reality older. The houses are older. The house on the right is also older, and then we get to the fort of Cascais. Really beautiful area, but you not here because on this specific track, it's going to be that white building at the right. Normally, it looks much better than this. I'm really sorry, but it's still underdeveloped. Now we're going to go towards the right on this roundabout, and on the roundabout, you would hit something called the Bay of Cascais. Generally, where what I would stop at the parking space or the parking lot over there. In this area, it's called the Bay of Cascais. In reality, this is an area that is really pretty. It's full of restaurants. It's full of life. This beach over here would be full of people. You know, it's a fisherman's area. So you had a lot of fishing boats. You had people on the beach, you know, playing something. There's live music all the time, and you can eat or just watch and relax. And at the distance, depending where you are, you could also see the beginning of Lisbon. In this area, I would generally finish my day and then go home by going into a bakery called Sacolinha. Very good, incredibly good type of pastries that they have there. Now, they want to develop this into a huge area, and for that they will need your help on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter starts on November 1st, and depending what you hit, it's going to develop into something that is already pretty good or something that it's going to be huge. I'm really happy that we're going to have my favorite driving roads in Assetto Corsa. This is something that I really love, and I hope that they can continue to expand this and make this as beautiful as it can be. It is a huge project, and if you want to help them out, they'll be on Kickstarter. And hopefully, as this develops and Assetto Corsa Evo comes in, we're going to have this in Evo, you know, cross fingers.